Welcome to the Level 1 Lounge, where we give our uneducated takes on anything and everything gaming. So tonight, I'm going to be your host, Ryder Pride 639. It's just going to be the two of us tonight, but with me, as always, one of the mainstays of the show, Agent Maverick 86. How's it going? How has your week been since we last did our reactions?
Oh, it's been a little crazy. Been trying to budget time for getting different reviews out for the new Geek Corner, trying to figure out what's going to be happening, what's going to be reviewed. We have a new addition to our household, so we picked up dog number 4 yesterday. So things have been a little hectic. But yeah, things have been good, hectic. It's been really busy. But with a lot of the stuff that we've seen, though, with the reactions that we did, I am excited for what's going to be coming as well.
Good. Yeah, no, so am I. And yeah, so that explains why it's just the two of us. Things have been really hectic for everybody here at the Level 1 Lounge. That's why Chewy and Irish Bandit Rob, they are currently preoccupied with other things that are taking up their time at the moment. So it's just going to be the two of us for tonight. But you know what? We got lots of news and lots of things to talk about here anyways, to bring to you folks who have been watching the videos faithfully. So before we get started into the news, we're going to pick up the controllers, we're going to power up, and we're going to talk about games that are coming out this coming July. So as of this recording, we're talking about this June 27th. There is a big pile of amazing games that's coming out here in July. So I'm just going to kind of go over the list here, and then we'll touch briefly on what we're excited for. So one of the big ones, and I'm pretty sure Mav was pretty excited about this one here. The first Descendant coming out for
Yeah.
pretty much all platforms except for Switch. So PC, PlayStations 4 and 5, and Xbox One, Series X, and Series S, which is going to be arriving July 2nd. Like I said, I know you were excited, but we'll touch base on this one real quick now.
Yeah.
I know you've been eyeballing this one and talking about this one for a while.
Yeah, I caught wind of it a few years ago when they kind of did the announcement, and I really thought it was just going to be a straight PC launch. And as we've discussed, I don't have a PC that really works for gaming. I do all my games as console gaming. And I got very excited when it came out that it's going to be on console. Um, and Monster kept beating it in my head. Hey, Maverick, it's going to be free to play, and I didn't believe him. This game's been developed with Unreal Engine 5. I wasn't really familiar with the developers. I did play the beta. I believe it was last fall, and really enjoyed it. The gunplay is fantastic. There's going to be it's going to be riddled with microtransactions, unfortunately, but that's kind of what you expect with free to play games, really. But you're going to have different characters you can unlock, and it's going to be another looter shooter, which it's a great time waster to have those types of games in your library just to jump in and burn an hour or two, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to having that. I've stopped playing Destiny for the last year ish, and I've been kind of looking for a game that kind of fills in the gap. I've looked at the Division 2. I've tried to. I even tried jumping back into Anthem for a little while, and I can't do it. So to have one more game out there to kind of fill in that gap has been good. So we'll see what the full release is like.
Yeah, and if it's free to play, I wouldn't mind giving that one a look too. And exactly to what you said, like I haven't played a looter shooter since Borderlands.
Right.
With Tiny Tina's, I can't even remember what the heck the name of the game is called now. It's been so long. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I'll give it a look, especially if it is free to play. I'll give it a
And
fair shake and
crossplay.
see. Yeah, and
So if you
crossplay too, which
have
is
yeah, if you have a friend on PS4 or PS5 or Xbox or PC, crossplay is available. You can play with all your friends.
oh crap, I gotta get friends.
Oh, and on that note, your check bounced.
Yeah, exactly. Funny. So yeah, so First Descendant coming out July 2nd. The next one, which I'll touch base a little bit on, Final Fantasy XIV Dawn Trail expansion. This is arriving on all platforms except for Switch, so PC, PlayStation, Xbox. The official release date is July 2nd. However, early access for pre-orders does begin tomorrow, June 28th. Unfortunately for me, I haven't had a chance to resub yet, and all the servers are offline for the update while they're basically putting out, the big patch through to get everything ready to go. So I am still like a full half expansion behind. Like I completed the main Endwalker expansion from the last one, but I haven't played through all of the updates to get prepared for the next expansion. So I'm gonna be very much behind the eight ball when it comes around to it. We'll kind of see what happens, but for you folks, keep an eye out either on the Level 1 Lounge podcast or for either on by YouTube or other of our members' social media channels and things like that. We might be doing a reaction video to Final Fantasy 14 a little bit later on as well.
Yeah, we were hoping to do that tonight,
Yeah.
and that kind of got kiboshed after my decision yesterday of, hey, I'm going to go get a puppy. So
Well,
I
and as it turns
apologize
out,
for that.
yeah, and as it turns out, because Monster and Rob had other and Chewie had other commitments and whatnot, we probably wouldn't have been able to do it anyway. So,
Yeah,
but
that's
it
right.
is what it is. But we're still going to try and do that for you. What else have we got coming up here? So on July 4th, we have Zenless Zone Zero coming out for PC, PlayStation 5, and mobile. Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak arrives on PlayStations 4 and 5, PC, and Nintendo Switch on July 5th. Another big name, I believe this one was highly touted. Once Human is going to be coming out on PC for July 9th. This one is also a very, very popular game. I've seen a lot of content creators play this one. Ace Combat 7 is finally making its appearance on Nintendo Switch. If you've ever seen that one before, very, very action-packed, very, very fast-paced, very, very unrealistic aerial combat. I've seen some videos about like fighter pilots and things that are
Which
going.
kind of concerns me about that port, because every time that something like that gets ported over to Switch, it's a mess. So
I
I'm
think,
hoping for the best for you guys.
yeah. I'm thinking the Switch one will be okay because Ace Combat is a bit of an aged game. Like it's been out for quite some time.
Okay, that might be
So
all
the
right.
likelihood, yeah. So the likelihood of it, the hardware on the Switch being able to handle it should be pretty high. Another one that I've been excited for as well, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate arrives on Nintendo Switch July 17th. For those of you who follow my Twitch channel, you guys have seen me play the side-scroller beat-em up, which I believe is called Shredder's Revenge, which came out for PC quite a while back. But there is a new Ninja Turtles game that's coming out for Switch on July 17th, which I'm super excited for as well. Dungeons of Hinterberg for PlayStation for PC and Xbox Series X and S is arriving on July 18th, alongside Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, which arrives on all
This
platforms except
this
for
one I'm
Switch.
excited for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this one I
this one
think
I'm excited for.
we saw this one at one of the game showcases, did we not? Was it the
Yes, they
Xbox one?
actually made the announce. Yeah, they made the announcement that it's going to be released on the 18th. I I believe it might have been the Xbox showcase, but
Yeah.
the reason why it was going to be there was because it's going to Game Pass, which is how I'm going to be getting my hands on it on the 18th. Uh, it's another Souls-like. There's a lot of them out there. I do feel that there's an oversaturation of it, but the combat looks good. I'm excited to get my hands on it. Monster and I are doing a race to see who can finish the game first. Um, I would actually personally put my money down on him because I feel that I don't know, he's just got this ability when it comes to gaming just to make the controller float in his hand. It's unreal some of the stuff that guy is able to do. Um, like I'm getting better, but I'm not at his level yet. So, but I'm very excited to see what direction or how that plays out, and to get it on Game Pass is fantastic.
Yeah, no, I'll be excited to see the results of that particular race as well. But keep an eye out for those on the socials as well. Next up, also on July 18th, the Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. Now, I don't recall if we've heard anything about this one, but I'm curious to see what comes out of this. the NES edition. The only thing that I can remember was during the Nintendo Direct when they had basically like a subsection of games that was basically focused around speedrunning. I can't remember if this is the same thing or not.
Yeah, I believe it is.
Okay, it is that then. Okay, so
I
yeah,
believe so.
so a huge win for the speedrunning community. This is going to add a whole new layer of content for people to enjoy, especially with the GDQ events that are coming up right away as well. Something like this is absolutely going to be perfect for that community. The next one, the new Denpa Men for Nintendo Switch arrives on July 22nd. Frostpunk 2 arrives on PC July 25th. And then lastly, also on July 25th, we are getting Earth Defense Force 6, which is a long-touted title, very popular amongst classic gamers. EDF 6 will be arriving on July 25th for PC and PlayStations 4 and 5. So, with that being said, I figure your most excited games are probably going to be Flintlock and First Descendant.
Yeah.
Mine are definitely going to be Final Fantasy 14 and Ninja Turtles. Let us know in the comments what you guys are most excited for this coming
Next
month.
month is a big month.
Yeah.
I think like I believe there's at least two big releases. Nope, there's three. We've got Black Myth Wukong, Visions of Mana, and Star Wars Outlaw.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's gonna be
and
a
then
pretty big month too.
yeah, and then of course we've got Gamescom coming up next month as well. So
yeah, exactly. So make
yeah,
sure you stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on because we're probably going to be doing a live reaction to that. Whether or not it's live or live after the fact, we'll figure that out with our schedules. But
and I will keep you guys posted. I may be MIA because I'm going to be on the road to go see Metallica that week.
oh yes, that's right.
So I don't know if I'm going to be available or not, but I have spoken to Chewy, who if I do need to step away for that week, will be filling in for me. So
Okay, perfect.
we've fantastic replacement if needed.
Yeah, absolutely. Either way, we're gonna have some reactions for you on Gamescom. So now that we're fully powered up, let's go ahead and get into level 1. News! God, we haven't done... Feels like it's been forever since we've done news. We've been doing so many reactions lately. So, the first little bit of news here. PlayStation is likely going to be going all digital by the PlayStation 7's release that were predicted by an analyst. So, according to Circana's Matt Piscatella, who has spent his analytical career assessing and reporting on the industry's many ups and downs, he's adding his take to an ongoing conversation around limited physical releases on Xbox. Piscatella writes, folks should probably just get used to this no physical Xbox versions across the market sooner rather than later. Then, when PlayStation and Nintendo are mentioned, he adds, give PlayStation another gen, Nintendo another 2. Clearly, Piscatella thinks that an all-digital market will become a reality at some point in the relatively near future, and we're not about to argue with that given his expertise. So, I've mentioned this many times before, especially once we kind of get talking to the technology side of things. And I agree. Physical editions are going to be a thing of the past. Unfortunately, I know a lot of people still love to collect their physical editions, Mav included. But
Actually,
I mean,
not so much anymore.
yeah, I mean,
I'll get to that in a
you're
minute.
slowly starting to turn that particular corner too. But
it's not slow. But I'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Like I said, physical hardware is going to get smaller and smaller as technology continues to lower the footprint, whether it be through chipsets, GPUs, hard drives, what have you. Cloud-based technology is going to get better as the infrastructure gets better, as internet speeds get faster and faster and more stable. Things of that nature. So yeah, eventually it's going to come to a time where the only thing you'll have to buy is a digital controller. Either that, or you're going to download a digital controller on your phone. I don't know how well that would work, but I might be grasping a little bit. But yeah, eventually you're gonna log into a service. You're gonna plug it into your TV. You're gonna remotely connect it to your TV, and you're gonna be playing games without ever having to touch a physical box again.
The only thing that I would like is to have a way of physically downloading the game. If there's I realize that we're talking about, physical consoles here. You know, I think Xbox, as it said, maybe another release. PlayStation might have another 2 generations. I've been saying that we're probably going to be looking at two for both. Um, but yes, subscription service is very likely that it's built right into our TVs or a flash drive, kind of like the way that the like a Fire Stick is, or the Google Chromecast. Those types of devices
Yeah.
is what I'm kind of expecting. I would like to see there be at least some kind of storage that we could download the games to make it a little bit easier to run. But then again, we're in the situation of, the output and all of that. I personally don't know if the technology is going to be there yet to be able to support it, but maybe that's something that could be discussed in a few years. Um,
Like given the size of controllers nowadays, like you take a look at the PlayStation 5 controller. This is just a basic one here, and you consider the size of an M2 SSD. You could quite easily and this is like I said, maybe you buy like just a physical controller for these digital games. And in terms of what you're saying about storage, there's going to be storage already built into the controller. So if
yeah,
you do
maybe.
need to take it offline for whatever reason, um,
I just I and in regards to the digital aspects for gaming, I have moved more to digital over physical. There is a couple reasons for that as well. For so my other half, she starts work at 6:30 in the morning. So when she's up at 4, I'm at 4, and it's because I can't get back to sleep. So my prime gaming is 5 o'clock in the morning. I get too excited for brand new games that come out. So for me to be going, okay, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. I now have to wait 6 hours to go and pick up my physical edition, put it in, install it, where it's going to take at least an hour, maybe two, to update, install, and get everything downloaded. Or I can buy pre-order my game. Yeah, yes, I pre-order. Please don't crucify me in the comments. I know it's bad. We've discussed this. It's fine. But pre-order, and then I'm able to preload it up to a week before. So when I'm up at 5 o'clock, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, I've had my breakfast. I can sit down and start gaming the brand new game that's just released, rather than having to wait until 11 o'clock in the morning to go to GameStop and pick it up.
yeah,
That's one of the reasons. The other reasons as well, and I hope that Sony makes this change, because this is so frustrating to me, is they do all of these updates where they make a PlayStation 4 version into a PlayStation 5 with a patch. And sometimes they're free downloads. Cyberpunk is a prime example. Witcher 3 is another example. In order to play the PlayStation 5 version, you have to have the PlayStation 4 version installed as well. So it's taking up double the amount of space on my hard drive to be able to run it. But if I had digital, I could just download the PlayStation 5 version and be done with it. And that's one of the reasons why, with the summer sale that PlayStation had, Witcher 3 was on sale for $13. I'll pay the $13 for the game again, so that I don't have to download the PlayStation 4 version and use a disc for it. And let's be honest, it's easier to be like, okay, you know what? I'm wanting to go and jump into Resident Evil 4. I'm going to switch to Resident Evil 4 from whatever game without getting up and switching the discs over. It's just
yeah,
convenient. So there's so many reasons behind it. The reason why I was going to GameStop more frequently was because I did have friends that work there, and I do enjoy having conversations with the employees of, hey, what's going on in the gaming industry? What's coming out? Do you guys have a pre-order for this? Do you have a pre-order for that? They make suggestions for me for other games, but they're going to have to adapt to this world as well, and they've already talked about it. That's why they're starting to offer merch. That's why they're selling puzzles. That's why they're selling Funkos. That's why they're selling clothing. They need to be able to figure something out when games go all digital, and then they don't have to worry about closing their doors. It's likely going to happen anyways, but
yeah.
at least they can hold off the wolves a little bit longer.
Yeah, no, that's so very true. And yeah, no, I totally agree with that. It basically, yeah, it's going to come down to convenience, and that's just kind of the nature of what humanity is doing. You know, as our technology evolves, we want things simpler, we want things quicker. We don't want to, you know, every minute counts in our life, and sometimes, you know, there are times where I kind of sit back and think, you know, maybe we're kind of micromanaging our lives a little too much. But at the same time, you hit the nail on the head. Like, I don't want to get up and go put in another disc. I don't want to get up and, you know, have to figure out, okay, where did I put this disc? Why did my dog chew this one?
Yeah.
I mean, and like I said, and you know, ever since I've bought this PC, or even the one my previous that I donated to Irish Bandit Rob, neither one of my computers that I've had, that I've custom built, have had CD drives. This one can't even have one installed in it because the whole front panel is all glass. So there's no actual place for a CD drive to go. So everything has to be digital for me. So
Yeah, and I'm starting to get there as well. I
mm-hmm.
mean, I still have the series. Like, I still have. I made a point to make sure to still get the PlayStation 5 and the Series X for the disc drives because I don't want to be limited to just the digital stores either. I know it kind of contradicts what I just said with the convenience and running out and buying it, but if Best Buy has a sale or GameStop has a sale on a game, I can go pick it up. Like I went and I
Mm-hmm.
picked up Red Dead Redemption 2 at GameStop for the Xbox for $20 when it was on the Xbox store for 80 still at the time.
Yeah.
So to have that option is still great as well. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass for installation and all of that, but I'm still saving money by keeping my options open.
Yeah.
But
I
that's
think
the other thing that's kind of concerning is if those stores go away, there's going to be less of a reason for them to be able to provide discounts on the digital storefront. They don't have to compete.
yeah, that's true too. But I think one of the things that will kind of keep things afloat, so to speak, collector's editions, especially physical collector's editions. I mean, they don't have to provide discs with them anymore, but you can still get all of the goodies, and then you'll get like a digital code to redeem for your game plus your in-game bonuses and things like that. But then you can still get, you know, buy this collector's edition and, you know, buy the Level 1 Lounge podcast special edition and get Funko Pops of all the podcasters or something like that. I know. I know we're wishing big here, but
I mean, just make my head shiny to blind people, and I'll be good with.
yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Uh,
But yeah, you're right. And but the thing is that kind of confuses me is they offer the games in a digital code, and then they turn around and offer a case for the game just for the code.
the
Like
steel
steel case,
cases, yeah.
that's fine. Steel. I'm not talking cases. I'm talking just here's a game case. And well, there's just the code in here. Why do I need a
Oh yeah,
case
no,
to?
I see what you mean. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
that would be, yeah, honestly, that would be, I would be okay with that as a physical copy of like having like a nice shiny steel case, like something that looks really really good, something that looks good on a shelf type of thing. Where yeah, inside is you got your digital codes for all your in-game goodies, but then you still have something nice to like display on a shelf for collectors like us type of thing.
yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
but I mean, yeah, that's like I said, I think that would be the one thing, in addition to what you mentioned before about having physical merch for various IPs, whether it be T-shirts, Funkos, Lego sets, branded, you know, branded hardware, that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on to the next one here. This one's a bit of an icky one here. So FromSoft, the parent company, which unfortunately suffered a ransomware attack. The ransomware gang is threatening to release internal data. So the ransomware group that perpetrated the attack posted a message saying that it had managed to download confidential and other information, including personal information of employees. The Katakawa group said that it is investigating the extent of the leakage with external organizations, and motives for this attack have been left unclear. We see this all the time, and it's not just video game companies. Like there's constantly, whether it be grocery companies. There's one actually just local to us, or local to Canada, Western Canada, I should say. It was mentioned, I think, by another friend of the show. FCL just suffered a ransomware attack. This is the same group that handles co-ops. Um, yeah, we see ransomware attacks all the time, and especially for both of us, I guess. I mean, I work more IT than
Yeah, I don't deal with hacks. I deal with point of sales and keeping companies legal
yeah.
with certain sales for state and provincial governments. Um, so it's very different. The hacks, though, I believe that this is actually due to the controversy that's been going around that the new Elden Ring DLC is labeled too hard. So I'm thinking this ransom group is ticked off, and it's a statement to say, "Hey, make it easier, or we're going to release the data." I don't know. It's a theory. I'm not saying that that's correct.
Hmm.
But either way, like I've been through data breaches before. There's actually an ongoing one right now that I've been trying to get involved with in clearing up. I haven't really spoken about this really to anyone, but they had all the former employees, and there's probably about 700 or 800 of us in town that had our data leaked. But it's an American-based company that's dealing with everything, so it's been a nightmare trying to get everything in line. Um, and then, of course, I had my account when the big PlayStation hack happened. I believe in what was it 2000? I want to say it was 2004.
Yeah,
That
it's
made
been a long time from that one.
Yeah, so like I've encountered it, and even there's been some concerns last year where Sony had data released of credit card information, that type of thing as well, and it got me concerned enough that I removed all my billing information off the accounts until I knew it was cleared. But it's scary because
Yeah.
I mean it's like especially for somebody that's like I was young, I was dumb, I've made stupid decisions financially in the past, and I've had to build things up. It's always a worry to be like, hey, you know what, this information's been leaked and now somebody can steal my identity, and I've built everything up for the last 7 or 8 years and now it's just gone.
Yeah.
So I'm I'm hoping this stuff gets cleared up. It's a very messy situation whenever this ends up happening. Um, so it's scary, and I also think that it's a bunch of keyboard warriors that just unfortunately don't have anything better to do with their time, and they're picking the wrong way to fight for what they want to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, there still could be some legitimacy behind it too. Like they could actually be holding certain things ransom. It's all speculative at this point. But this
Yeah.
also makes a a good time to kind of segue into rider security talk. Let's talk about that for a second. So if you want to protect yourself against data breaches, no, this will be just a quick thing, guys. Make yourselves good passwords. Make them nice and long. Make them easy to remember, easy to type, and please, for the love of God, whatever you do, put two-factor authentication on your stuff. It makes a world of difference, whether it be through authenticator apps, whether it be through codes to be sent to your mobile phone, codes to be sent to your email. Two-factor authentication will absolutely make your stuff a lot more secure later on down the road and prevent things like these ransomware attacks from happening to you personally. So yeah, no, just make sure you're safe out there, folks. There's a lot of unscrupulous people who will do anything to try and get at your stuff, so make sure you're protecting it.
Yeah.
So with that, we're going to be moving on to the next particular article here, and I hope to God Monster Hospital is what is going to end up watching this video. So, Beyond Good and Evil 2, which if you've been paying attention to our last few podcasts and whatnot, he's very very passionate about this particular project, but it is still in development. So there is a feed from Ubisoft that did state that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still in development, and we cannot wait for you to discover more about Jade's past in the 20th anniversary edition. So in 2022, Beyond Good and Evil 2 became the longest delayed game ever, taking over from Duke Nukem Forever. Duke Nukem did eventually release, so it does not necessarily mean it's the end of the development cycle for Beyond Good and Evil 2. So, like I said, I know Monster Hospital is chomping at the bit to see more news about this particular game.
Yeah, he's been telling me, you know what, Maverick, you're not allowed to have nice things until I get Beyond Good and Evil 2. And you know what I have to say to you? Get bent. No, the thing is, I do agree that Ubisoft needs to work on this IP rather than the 100th Assassin's Creed game. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my Assassin's Creed games. I will take every single one of them. Yes, there are some that were a mess. Mirage was mediocre at best. But the new one that's coming out, I am excited for. But I do agree with them. Ubisoft needs to work on this IP a little bit more. And I think this is an embarrassment that it's actually taken over for Duke Nukem forever, because Duke Nukem at least had a reason for their delay.
Yeah.
Handed off from developer to developer to developer to developer. The problem is that that game was awful.
Yeah,
but I think it was just
right from the word go.
Oh, and I think it was because there's just too many developers that had their hands in the cookie jar for that one. I think the premise could have been really well done if it stayed with one development company. The good news is here, it hasn't left Ubisoft. It's just taken forever for them to be able to get it done. I do think that part of the reason why they didn't release it, again, this is me speculating, is that they may not have had the technology to display the work that they wanted to present. They had a certain idea for the game, and the technology just wasn't there to be able to do it. I believe it's there now. So Ubisoft, start working on this. Take a break from Assassin's Creed. Us Assassin's Creed fans can wait. We have plenty to play. But seriously, just stop and I work on this one. Even though
Division 3.
I know
Give
for
me Division
fact,
3.
yeah, Division 3, and they have actually come out and said, yes, we have started remaking and remastering Assassin's Creed games. Much as I love the series, don't do that. Leave it alone. I'll buy it. I'll play it. I'm a sucker. I know. But I do think that Beyond Good and Evil 2 needs to have the focus on it. You guys have been developing it for way too long. Just get it done. And I'm not saying rush it out the door. You've had all this time to work on it. But let's just wrap it up. Get the right team together, get the right people together, get it together, get it out the door.
Yeah, I almost feel like this is like, especially when it comes to how bad Duke Nukem Forever was. I almost have the sinking feeling that's what Knights of the Old Republic remake is going to end up being like. Is that
Oh, I hope
it's?
you're wrong.
I hope so too, because if they do this game dirty, oh man, I don't even know what I'm going to think at that particular stage. But almost feel like, yeah, if Beyond Good and Evil 2 finally sees the release date that it deserves, um, Knights of the Old Republic remake is likely going to end up being the next big one on the list that's going to be stuck in development hell longer than Duke Nukem Forever was. But I hope that it doesn't also suffer the same terrible fate that it did, being that it's kind of passed around from studio to studio.
I think we're going to be okay there. I do think that they have gotten the team, like from what I've been hearing, have gotten the team together. They are working diligently on it, but we just haven't heard much about it other than the announcement trailer.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to hear a little bit more about that one for sure.
Yeah, but I'm not going to hold my breath for any news on that one.
Yeah.
So on to the next article. So we're going to talk about Sony here. Sony has reportedly made cuts to its VR development with only 2 titles currently planned. Sony's biggest foray into VR development came at the launch of the PlayStation VR 2 with Horizon Call of the Mountain. Since then, the company's output for the hardware has been very, very limited. A PC adapter for the headset is going to be released later this year. The adapter will be released on August 7th and will cost $59 US at select retailers and directly on PlayStation.com wherever available. So yeah, $59 US, 59 euros. or €60 if you're rounding up the extra penny, and then 49.99, which I believe is Great British
Is
pounds.
pounds. I think,
Yeah,
yeah, that's pounds. Yeah. This isn't a shock.
no,
The PC adapter, they needed to get out the door, I think, so that they can sell the hardware to PC players as well. Um, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference.
I don't think
And
so either.
there's a very good reason for this. So I've tried to stop being a Sony pony, as Monster has eloquently called me on multiple occasions. Um, and when people have asked me, "Hey, I'm looking at getting into gaming and looking at getting consoles. What should I get?" The answer to me is always been the same. What games are you going to play? I answer their question with a question. What games are you going to play? So you want to get Xbox. If you're gonna, you want to play Halo, you want to play Forza, you're looking at an Xbox. You want to play Uncharted, God of War, Spider-Man, you're looking at a PlayStation. I bring that part up because the PlayStation VR 2, what games are there? You have Call of the Mountain, great. The reviews were mediocre at best. Um, there isn't a game that would make me run out and pick one up. As much as I'd love to be able to play it, uh, the other problem is, and there are updates and stuff that are available. Like Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil Village would be fantastic in VR. I want to play it in VR, but it's not enough for me to spend $700 on that system.
Yeah, and that's the big
And
thing is that price point.
yeah, I mean the apparently it is the best VR out there right now. It's the most comfortable headset, it's the most immersive. Sony built it well. And that price point shows it, but there's not enough games for it. They showed off a couple. This is just, to me, is just saying, okay, guys, we're not selling enough. We need to stop. And it's because that hardware doesn't make the money. It's the software.
Yeah.
There's not much there for games right now. I mean, as I mentioned, all the games I mentioned, they're all free updates. Every single one of them. Play like Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 4. They're free updates that you can pick up and buy. They're not even buy, just download for free. It's a game mode. And as much as I'd like to be able to do it, as I said, I'm not spending $800 on a headset. The thing is more costly than what a PlayStation 5 is.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Yeah, and we've said that time and time again on the pod before too, where every system has a console mover. Nintendo has Mario. We've got God of War and Uncharted for PlayStation. We've got Halo and Gears of War for Xbox. Things like that. Every system kind of has 3 to 5 various titles or characters that are specifically there to move the systems out the door. And yeah, and exactly that. PSVR has nothing. They have games out there, but none specifically that move the system. Like, there's not one single game out there that people say, I need to buy a VR headset just for that. There's games that are out there and going, that'd be like exactly you said, like, cool, that'd be really, really fun to play. But it's not the game that's going to move the needle to make you want to go out and spend that money on that hardware. If they can't, if PSVR all of a sudden came out with a VR Spider-Man, I bet you that one would probably be a system mover.
I would also argue an Uncharted one
Yeah.
as well. I think an Uncharted VR game would be fantastic. But
Actually,
Naughty Dog,
what else would be a really, really good one to do for VR that would be a system mover? Call of Duty. Bring out a Call of Duty game on
yeah,
VR.
but the problem is now that they're owned by Microsoft, I don't see that happening, right? So, I
Yeah, they kind
mean,
of
that
missed
could
their
have been
window of
just,
opportunity on that one.
yeah, yeah. But that doesn't mean that there's not a first-person game that they can do. How about, I mean, let's revitalize. I know Monster's going to give me grief for this, and that's fine. Revitalize Killzone. How about bring back Medal of Honor? Do a Medal of
Oh,
Honor
Medal of Honor,
VR game.
absolutely. The last game that they had, I thought it was fantastic. I had a lot of fun with
Yeah,
it. Battlefield, put a Battlefield VR game on there too.
yeah.
You
See,
know,
there
there's
are
certain,
options. Yeah,
but I mean, yeah, I think at this stage it's I'm pretty sure that that headset is pretty much one foot in the grave, at least until the next iteration comes out. You know, maybe like 5 years from now when they kind of have to update the technology to match whatever's we got on the market at the time. But we'll just have to
yeah.
see. All right, but over to the next piece of news. A little bit of shocking news, actually. So, Embracer says that Alone in the Dark was a flop. The Alone in the Dark reboot failed to meet its expectations. This was also stated after the company completed their most recent layoffs. There was a financial fiscal report that was released for the year end of March 31st, 2024, that stated that Alone in the Dark and Outcast had softer than expected performances and performed below management expectations. So while Alone in the Dark and Outcast performed below expectations, they did state that the Tomb Raider 1 to 3 remasters were very positively received and performed above expectations. So yeah, I've never played Alone in the Dark, so I couldn't speak to that one.
It's not actually shocking. When I wrote that, I meant that to be a little bit more sarcastic, but I mean, no one bought it. Um, and it kind of sucks because they had some decent voice actors and actors that were involved in the project. Um, who was I'm trying to remember the name of the one actor. He played Santa um in Violent Night. He also played. He was
I know who you're talking about
Hopper.
too. Yeah,
Yeah, Hopper in Stranger Things, and I'm drawing a blank for some stupid
uh,
reason, and he's a
David
fantastic.
Harbour,
Yes, David Harbour. Thank you. Everything that guy touches is gold on the big screen. So
right?
he was heavily involved in that game, and it's kind of a shame because he does good work. So I'm not shocked. Outcast looked interesting as well, but it was another double A game that kind of flew under the radar. I feel that a lot of games are focused on either indie or triple A games, and I know that this one was kind of somewhere in the middle, but I can see a lot of advertisements for it. I maybe they just didn't have it in their budget. Apparently that game was still well received. I'm happy though that Tomb Raider did as well as it did because I would love to see more Tomb Raider games. Give me more Tomb Raider games. We know
Yeah,
that there's one in development. I'm a little worried about it with Amazon being involved with with the development of that game. But that being said, Crystal Dynamics is still behind that one, and I'm happy that Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remasters did as well as they did. Uh, they were they were a game I slept on at that point, but I'm happy to play the reboots for that.
yeah, no, absolutely.
But it's not a shocker because people loved those games when they came out.
Yeah, no, I heard a lot about them too, but yeah, like I said, I never really got my fingers dug into those ones. But moving on to the next one, this is also one that I'm very very excited to talk about here. The Final Fantasy IX remake. A trusted industry insider supported rumors claiming a Final Fantasy IX remake is in development at Square Enix. Square Enix has, of course, refused to comment on this and have yet to confirm that this is underway. Square Enix producer Naoki Yoshida also fueled speculation of an impending announcement of a modern re-imaging when he implied there was a reason Final Fantasy XIV's upcoming Dawn Trail expansion heavily referenced Final Fantasy IX. Now, I will say this: I'm surprised that Final Fantasy IX is getting the remake treatment before 8. Um, why that is, I don't know. Those particular decisions are above
They
my pay
flat out
grade.
said they're not. They flat out said they're not doing eight. Eight's
Yeah,
not
which
happening.
yet. Who knows? They could backtrack and come up with it later on
Sure.
down the road. We'll see. We're not going to hold our breath on that one, obviously. But at the same time, it's still something to get excited for. I know a lot of people that kind of dunked on Final Fantasy IX just because it was a bit more cartoonish. But I was one of those people that really really enjoyed Final Fantasy IX because I felt like the game was kind of going back to its original roots
Yeah.
of it being, the standard turn-based RPG, with a good weapon system, with a good ability system, a very easy to manipulate way to basically customize your character abilities, for the end game thing. And I thought the story was actually pretty decent as well. Music was always fantastic. I mean, Nobuo Uematsu, is an absolute master of his class, a master of his artwork. Yeah, that's what I've got on Final Fantasy IX Remake.
I have played Final Fantasy IX, and I did enjoy it. I get why people love it. I am a little heartbroken it's not 8.
Yeah.
8 is my favorite. I would argue that 8 is better than 7 in my mind. It's not that I'm saying that 7 is bad, so don't start ripping me apart on that one. I'm just saying I enjoyed 8 a little bit more. No, I enjoyed 8 a little bit more, and I think that it's. I think it was because the main character Squall, he was in my mind was so relatable in my mind. I really liked that where I didn't really feel overly connected to Cloud. Um, I did really enjoy, Tifa's character and Aerith and all of them, but they're so hard to relate to in 7 in my mind. 8 is it's so much easier to relate to them. You're working with the group of friends that you had growing up as kids, right? So
Yeah.
everyone had that neighborhood of kids that you played with growing up, and you terrorized the neighborhood with. And it kind of felt like that game a little bit once you learned a little bit more of their backstory. And that's one of the things I enjoyed. The junctioning system, as broken as it was, when you understood it, it worked well.
Yeah, no, I agree, and Monster will agree with you on that one too. I know how much he loved talking about the junctioning system over the materia system.
It's so much simpler. Yes, it's a little bit more complicated and convoluted with the way that you equipped everything, but you don't have to worry about MP. It's I have 5 of these spells. I have 10 of these spells.
Yeah,
There's no need for MP. Just use the spells you have.
or
I love
depending on
that.
which ones you drew, you had to also use them sparingly if you weren't farming them too. So,
Yeah.
but I mean that's a
Yeah.
whole other thing. Yeah. Regardless, it's going to be a new Final Fantasy remake title for the Final Fantasy fans that are out there. I'm excited for it. A lot of other Final Fantasy fans are going to be excited for it regardless. I mean, it's not like we can just, stomp our feet and make Final Fantasy VIII Remake appear as much as we'd like to. But, if this one comes out, you can bet your bottom dollar we're gonna be
You have
playing
a
it and
magic
reviewing it.
lamp over there? Maybe I can make a wish. Because that'd be great.
No, the closest I've got is just some gamer drink powders. That's about it. um, all right, on to the next article here. So we have a topic about Naughty Dog. So Neil Druckmann says that Naughty Dog's next game could redefine mainstream perceptions of gaming. So according to Neil, this information could have been taken out of context, and he attempted to rewrite his comments. So this is not quite what I said that Druckmann wrote. In editing my rambling answers in my recent interview with Sony, some of my words, context, and intent were unfortunately lost. Well, here's the full, long, rambling answer for the final question about our future game. This is all very conceptual, of course, but it sounds as though Naughty Dog plans to make a bigger leap than ever before with its next game. Outside of remasters, remakes, and collections, it last released The Last of Us Part 2 in 2020, Uncharted The Lost Legacy in 2017, and Uncharted 4 A Thief's End in 2016. So, I know Naughty Dog is kind of more up your alley in terms of games that you've played through and enjoyed.
Oh, I love Naughty Dog. I love, 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 no, love Naughty Dog. They are one of my favorite developers. They're right up there with Santa Monica Studios. Um, Ryder, I cannot express to you enough how great this company is in regards to narratives. To say that they're groundbreaking, though, is a lie. The When it comes to gameplay and revolutionary gaming, it's not great. There's no huge technical leap forward, but the story. I'm not saying the combat's bad. I'm not saying that there's any issues with the gameplay. It's just not it's not recreating the wheel, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's that you're good. You jump in, you're going to be familiar with the controls very, very, very quickly. There's no skill trees or anything like that. It's just a straight game, narrative based. Uncharted series, I love, 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 love. It's one of the reasons why I picked up a PlayStation. I told you guys before when it came uh, to systems, people ask me the question, what game should I play or what system should I play or pick up? My answer is always been asking, what games are you going to play? Uncharted, as soon as anybody said, okay, you know what, I'm sold, I'm getting a PlayStation, I said, you need to pick up Uncharted. I believe I told Ryder this too when he picked up, we got him that PlayStation for Christmas the one year. I said, if you have an opportunity, you need to try Uncharted.
Well, and
This
now,
series,
especially with the collection on the PlayStations or on PS Plus, sorry.
right, and they're fantastic stories. And I realize that people are saying, well, the movie wasn't great. Forget about the movie. The movie wasn't great as an Uncharted fan. And the reason being is because Sony decided, okay, well, Mark Wahlberg was supposed to be Nathan Drake, and then they waited so long for the development that they just said, "Oh, yeah, Mark, you're going to be Sully now." And it was a move that baffled everyone, and not opposed to either of those actors, but it's a really odd fit. Uh,
Yeah.
but that narrative, that story, I gotta tell you, it's fantastic. I absolutely love that series. The Last of Us. I can't. We've all seen the show at this point. We love the show. I know that it's been for a while. I could probably talk spoilers, but I'm not going to. The ending, it's so controversial. Of what would you have done in Joel's shoes? Was it right? Was it wrong? Like, and I hated number two. But when the remake came out for it, I bought the update for it. I played it, and I gotta tell you, I went in with a little bit of an open mind, a little bit more of an open mind, and tried to understand the characters a little bit more. And I did enjoy it a lot more now. After replaying the original and the remastered version or the remake version of The Last of Us, so The Last of Us Part 1, it was I listened more to the dialogue to realize, Joel wasn't really that great of a person. So the events that happened to him in 2, as awful as they were, made more sense to me and I wasn't as upset. So I, I've changed my mind on part 2. It's not that bad. It's not the greatest Naughty Dog game. But when he's talking Revolution, I'm and he's tried to backtrack on it, I think he's talking about story, and that I can understand. That I can agree with. They're not known for revolutionizing the gameplay, and if Monster was here, he'd say they're just making sad dads. They're all sad dads. Um, and I agree to an extent, but at the same time, it's still a developing company that is worth looking at. You're talking about also the company that did originally create Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
So they have a great team behind them. It they're it's fantastic. That whole group. I can't wait to see what they bring out. And I know if I didn't say this, and I can almost hear Chewie yelling in the background, "Where's Uncharted 5? We need Uncharted 5." I'm going to agree, but I think that at this point it's time to bring in a new character for that. So I'm hoping it's something like that.
Yeah. Well, I know that. Yeah, if we see Naughty Dog's logo come up at Gamescom, I know there's going to be a lot of excited people for that, but
Oh, I'll be pre-ordering the second that any of those games are announced. The second, and it's the same with Santa Monica Studios, right? Like as I said, those two developers, it's just take my money.
Yeah, watch them not even give you the opportunity. Be like, yeah, we're announcing this game. Oh, by the way, it's dropping today.
Oh, my other half would be so mad.
All right, coming up to the next article here. So, new Helldivers 2 studio CEO wants to avoid the poison currently destroying the game's interest. Sorry, let's try that again. He wants to avoid the poison currently destroying the game's industry, that being publicly traded companies and endless growth. So both Pilestead and Giorgiani spoke about Arrowhead going forward. We pride ourselves on being an independent studio, Pilestead says, rebuffing talk of Arrowhead potentially going public or being acquired. The goal of the studio is to make really great co-op games. We really want to turn Arrowhead into a flagship studio, but that doesn't mean we have to be a 500-person company, the new Arrowhead CEO continues. In fact, a 500-person company is quite painful in a lot of ways. We will see growth, but growth as a means to an end, not as an end itself. We don't have plans to go public, none of those shenanigans. Measured growth that allows us to make amazing games and be a good place to work. When asked about publicly trading, they were then quoted as saying, no, we're not going public. It doesn't make sense for a dev studio and has never paid off. A main concern for this response is the increase in the number of layoffs that have occurred in the industry for the last few years. And yeah, in exactly that point, we've seen so many layoffs that, yeah, I mean, it's been hard to watch. To see this
It's
kind of
because they're
information.
like let's be honest, like it's because that these companies have shareholders to answer to.
Yeah.
This is a very smart decision with Arrowhead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like if they can keep everything in house, and not have to worry about, get this game done in 6 months. Otherwise, shareholders are going to be pulling funding. I wish more companies could be like this, where they could keep everything in house. They can keep all the decisions in house, and they answer to nobody except for the people in house, and
Yeah.
obviously the people that buy the games. So yeah, no, I really agree with Palstat in this, in keeping them off the public markets. Um, I feel like, I mean, unfortunately, when it comes to like these larger companies, like when you get to the size of like Activision, EA, Square Enix, Ubisoft, what have you, you kind of don't have really much other choice, because where else are you going to kind of get your funding from, type of thing. But um, when it comes to companies like these, and I mean, Helldivers has done an absolutely amazing thing with Helldivers 2. Like we've seen the success that it's had, um, even though there's still people that kind of dunk on it in socials and on game reviews and things like that for things like gun balancing, enemy balancing, things like that. But um, yeah, like I said, them not turning into uh, the corporate shill of a company, I guess, if you really want to call it that,
Mm.
I think is doing wonders for them.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, and it's for me just all as I said, it comes down to the shareholders. Like, I mean, even Ubisoft last year, if you brought up, they said we're not making any money this year, and shareholders said, "Okay, you have 1 year to rewrite this ship," and they were banking on Skull and Bones. Whoops.
Yeah.
um. So I'm hoping that Outlaws and Shadow AC Shadows goes off without a hitch. Uh, but when it comes to this, it's a very very smart decision, and it also sounds like instead of worrying about closing the doors, they're wanting to expand the team. In my mind
Mm-hmm.
as well. By the way that it sounds, is that they want to be able to grow and keep making games that we're going to love, like how Helldivers 2 turned out, which
Yep.
I still can't get enough of.
Yeah, I really need to start playing that more again. I'm trying to find the time has been challenging, to say the least. Even more
Absolutely.
challenging
Yeah.
to try and take down a friggin' charger, anyways. Um, so let's go ahead and get into our last news article then. So Sony is
Sorry,
actually
there
going to be.
was
Oh,
there
sorry.
was actually one that we had missed, real
What was that?
quick. Yeah, so the Warhammer 40K Space
Oh,
Marines 2 developer confirms that it has no microtransactions.
oh, that,
And if we've talked about this
yeah.
before, and all I gotta say is like, don't you love it when the developers listen to their fan base? Warhammer Space Marine 2 developers come outside that they will be shipping full game at the time of release, and it will be not adding any paid story DLCs to the game. The paid DLC content is coming, but it will be in the form of
Oh, excuse me.
cosmetics only. They have also stated that microtransactions are not a thing for this game. Space Marine 2 is slated for September 9th, 2024, unless there's, of course, any additional delays.
Right.
This, at this moment, is my most anticipated game. I've talked about Assassin's Creed Shadows. I've talked about Outlaws. Yes, I'm excited for this. This game is on a whole other level for me. I'm not big into Warhammer. It's something that I've always been interested in. But now that they're saying there's no microtransactions, there's no paid DLCs coming. Give me the game. I'm so excited. It looks bloody. It looks brutal. I cannot wait to get my hands on this one.
Yeah, this one does actually. Yeah, it does look exciting. Yeah, no, I totally missed the skipped right by this when I was reading the article here
And no
too.
worries.
But yeah, no, I wish we could see more of this when it comes to games. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the way of things going forward.
No.
Which is unfortunate, but it's still good to see like certain devs that are bringing out games exactly like this, where it's like, here's the game, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Eventually we might add a few trinkets here and there that aren't going to change how you play the game. Um, but yeah, like I said, the fact that you don't have to buy, $5, $10, $15, $20 packs to change your guns, change your look, change your armor, change your dialogue, things like that.
Yeah.
It's really refreshing to see for sure.
Yeah, and it's going to have, of course, supposed to have a decent story, three-person co-op, and then of course, there's going to be PvP as well.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a complete packaged game. I'm so excited. PvP, I probably won't be getting into, but this, I'm here for the story, and it's a world that I want to learn about more. I did have friends that played Warhammer growing up, and I just did not have the money to get into it.
No, that's a very expensive hobby.
It is, and I do actually know the gentleman that owns the Games Workshop here in town, and the guy knows the stuff with this. He's going to have to, right? But
Yeah.
it's something that I want to learn a lot more about, especially since our I guess we could say unconfirmed king of the nerds, Henry Cavill, is so big into this, and he's actually involved in producing and starring in a Warhammer Amazon series. And so far, from what I've heard, the budget is around the ballpark of $1 billion as well.
That'd
So
be interesting to see.
I,
I'd watch it.
I'm yeah, and he went to Game Shop and said, "Hey, I want to do this project. I need your okay before I do it." So he respects the story and the material, and of course that was getting into shows here a little bit. That was one of the issues that he had with The Witcher, and why he quit The Witcher was because the showrunners were making fun of the content of the books, and that was what the source material was. And he's a purist when it comes to that. He wants to see things very particular, and if he's involved with the production of it, and he's making sure the right people are involved, this could be something to see.
Yeah.
And this is going to be kind of my first. This game's going to be kind of my first taste into that world a little bit more. I know there's Dark Tide that's out there. There's strategic games as well. Those ones just haven't really jumped out at me as much as this one has.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah, I've never really been big into the 40K side of things either. Any of the Warhammer stuff that I've ever dealt with has all been on the fantasy side. Then with with Vermintide, with Blood Bowl. If you really want to count, there was an offshoot of a game I played called Gorka Morka. It was all orcs. That's all it was. It was just orcs. Yeah. So yeah, I'm curious to see where this one goes too. I mean, I don't know if it's a game that I'll get into particularly, but I know how hyped up it is, especially for people like I've got a lot of friends who were big into Warhammer Fantasy and 40k. And they spent thousands upon thousands of dollars, buying their armies and painting them, and all that fun stuff. I've seen them spend like $300-400 just on a single battle tank. And same thing, they like dressing it up and painting it and all that good stuff. So, no, 40k has a very very big following, even to this day. That I know for sure. So it'll be exciting to see where this one goes in the 40k universe. But with that, okay, now we're gonna get to the last article of the day.
Sorry, I was really excited for that one. I had to stop you to bring that one up.
Oh, no worries. That's my fault for missing it in the first place. But anyways, last article of the night. So we have some Gamescom news. Speaking of which, we were talking about earlier. So Sony is going to be skipping Gamescom again. However, Xbox has stated that they will be setting up their biggest booth ever at the event. So there is going to be a handful of confirmed games that they're going to be showcasing. The first one being Age of Mythology Retold. Age of games, I mean, they've been around for years on end. They're going to still be around for years on end. It's a very, very popular series. Next one that they're going to talk about is called Avowed. I think, Matt, you mentioned this one. You've been looking at this one here in particular as well.
A first-person fantasy. It takes place in the world of Pillars of Pillars of Create. I can't remember. Pillars of something. Yeah. But it is on Game Pass as well. But I'm very excited to get into this one for sure.
Yeah.
Anyways.
The next one here, Ara History Untold. I think we saw a blurb of this one at one of the showcases. Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred, which is the upcoming expansion that was announced for Diablo 4. That one's going to be an exciting one. Diablo Immortal is also going to be getting some more news. Diablo Immortal is the mobile version, which can also be played on PC. The Elder Scrolls Online, again, another MMO that's been around for quite a long time. Still very, very popular, getting a lot of expansions. We'll probably see some more news on that. Fallout 76, if they're going to be having news at Gamescom, chances are pretty good. Likely going to be another DLC or expansion of some sort. Towerborn was another one that was mentioned. I'm not familiar with this one, however. Did you have any news on that one in particular, Mav?
No, unfortunately, don't. No.
Okay. So we'll have to look into that one. I mean, we'll if more news comes about it, we'll talk about it here on the pod. And then the last one that they're going to be talking about is World of Warcraft with their new expansion, The War Within. Amazing to see that World of Warcraft is still going strong after how many years that it's been on the market. We've seen a bunch of MMOs come and go. There's still a handful of them that are out there, still doing their thing, between Star Wars The Old Republic, Final Fantasy XIV, Elder Scrolls Online, but World of Warcraft is still going strong with however many millions of players that that they still have loyal to that particular base. So Gamescom's going to be a big one.
I would also say I would be willing to put money down. It would be a very safe bet that we will be seeing a release date for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Yeah, that's right, because we haven't actually seen that one yet.
Yeah.
I'm definitely excited to see what's going to be coming. Obviously, we're going to have to wait a couple months. When does Gamescom occur again? August 7th?
It starts August 20th. I think the main show is August 20th. As I said, I may be around for that one. It depends on when they're going to be broadcasting, when we're going to be doing a reaction, all of that. And mainly because I'm leaving the 21st to go see Metallica. So I've brought it up a couple times, but I've had these tickets for 2 years. But I will be keeping an eye on it and keeping everyone informed as much as I can. on the new Geek Corner, and of course right here on the pod, and making sure that I give my thoughts here, or that we give our thoughts to those games as well. I'm a little disappointed if I'm going to be missing out on that, but I mean, life gets in the way of some of these things as we're two people short tonight. Um, but I mean, we'll roll with the punches, and we'll make it work. But I'm excited to see what happens, and I will do what I can to keep my Facebook page up to date as well with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll be doing the same thing as well with mentioning it over on my Twitch channel, my YouTube as well. Which is basically the perfect segue to say that is it for the news article. So it is time to put down the controllers. It's time to power down the system and say goodnight here. So yeah, even though it's just the two of us, we're still happy to bring you guys all the news and going ons of what's happening in the gaming world tonight. So, yeah, as Maverick mentioned, make sure you go check him out over on his New Geek Corner on Facebook. He does do Twitch streams occasionally, although lately it's been bit of a hit or miss. But
It's been chaotic. As I said, we had a new addition, and actually, I could probably show her off here. So this is our newest addition here. So this is pup number 4. I've named her Cirilla. So she's going to be keeping me very, very busy. So my gaming will be probably on hiatus for a little while. But I mean, for very good reason.
Yeah.
So I mean, who doesn't love puppies, right? So she's only 3 months old. So she'll keep me busy. I also have 3 others that keep me on my toes. So we'll see what happens there. I'm going to be doing the race still with Monster. I'm hoping that she'll be a little bit more settled by then. So yeah, my gaming at this point is kind of on hiatus, but I'm trying to work through my backlog right now. Right now, I'm working on Red Dead Redemption 2, which I am absolutely in love with.
You can also catch our other podcast members as well. All their information is down below. You can catch Monster Hospital on his podcast, the In My House Wrestling Podcast, as well as Irish Bandit Rob over on his YouTube channel. You can catch him there for all of his stuff, which includes Doki Doki Literature Club and Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster that he's currently working on. And lastly, whenever I get back to streaming again, my gaming is kind of sporadic here and there. Just because I'm transitioning with a new job, I am going to be taking on shift work likely in the next little while here. So my schedule is going to be kind of all over the place for that. But regardless, you can still catch me over on my Twitch channel, where you can catch me playing various games, whether it be Final Fantasy VII Remake, Dragon Quest XI. Those are going to be kind of my main focuses for now, especially with the Dragon Quest remasters that were announced. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Yeah, and then I also have a YouTube channel where I will try and post more Let's Plays, playthroughs, VOD postings, maybe some Final Fantasy 14 reaction videos that's going to be coming eventually. But that's where you guys can follow me as well. So with that being said, thank you all very, very much for tuning into another episode of the Level 1 Lounge podcast. Make sure that you do drop a like on the video and click that subscribe button with the notification bell on, so that way you guys don't miss a single video when they go live. Make sure you follow us all on all of our socials. Like I said, all of our information, you can find us down below in the first part of the comment section. So with that, I think it's time to say goodnight. We'll see you guys on the next level, and until then, take care.